A Glimmer in the Night, written by William Bundy, based on characters created by Bram Stoker. The battlements were tall and thin in the moonlight, its yellow light casting nary a shadow on the dark forest below. Whispers, hauntings, a merry lullaby of times gone past as eyes blazed like candles in the dark. Sometimes they went out, sometimes not, sometimes drawing closer as figures loomed nearby, their tall forms merging with the night as pale moonlight shone through treetops dimmed. A carriage made its way slowly through this forest, its rattling disturbing the peace of 1,000 years, yet shattering nothing as cold as the earth itself, long and dead from years of bewitchment. A lone owl turned, its eyes seeing all in the pale light as figures flew high above, their forms barely discernible to all but those who would look for them. Then as wolves howled and wind murmured, a solitary figure cast his eyes out of that carriage, as the light of a distant castle could be felt in his bones. He'd prayed for here, he'd yearned for it, a meeting with the Count who would soon satiate his appetite for more than he could tolerate, a yearning for the night's blood as fog encroached, a feeling of stillness now rigid as cold air blew in from the south, clouds wispy while the castle glowed like a bastion in the night. The forest itself was alone that night, forms creeping through its stillness unknown to human eyes, shadows lurking, a foreboding of graves dug and yet to be dug, as the lawyer felt their presence from afar. "Save us!" they cried out, their voices wispy as the wind. "Save us from him!" They yearned, as forms took hold of the mist before disappearing again, tendrils as flimsy as vapour now forming as one with the night. He shivered and steeled himself as the carriage rumbled on through the darkness, the moon or bow giving its loving glow to that which could not be loved under natural eyes, the forest yearning with treetops yet unanswered by the sun's reflection. Living things did not grow here, they merely stared when he arrived, answering his call as he bent reality to his grasp. A grasp of darkness as his castle stood as it had done for time immemorial, a beacon to evil eyes of flame that shone into the eternal night. He yearned for the immortal, yet granted it nothing in return, save for the blood of those he stripped clean for allies instead, allies who would soon do his bidding when the time came as silence stared at the visitor's approach. The lawyer looked at a picture in his hands, a portrait of his long-lost love, taken in mystery by some evil thing many years back. Some say it was a man, some say it was a beast, but whatever it was never answered to the law. A shadowy figure, one that disappeared as soon as the moon was new and the night looked for new light. Her body with blood disgorged was his only knowledge of this event, the papers writing it off as the workings of a madman, one of countless carried out in the fair city of London. A young protege of his, one Jonathan Harker, Esquire, a very talented young lawyer in his own right, commented on the matter. "Probably just some villain from the foulness of the gutter, I'd wager. Still, most unpleasant business. I expect the papers will have a field day with it." Could it have been? He'd pondered this, but it mattered not. He'd already made his deal and desired the life that would spare him from the irreconcilable ending that was death. He'd always feared it, and the death of his wife, someone with whom he could not bear to be parted with, made it even worse. Seeing her again would be a fate even worse than death, considering what he had often done in secret. A vampire at heart, as he often reflected. He swallowed from the grief and locked it up again as the carriage pulled up into the courtyard of the Count, his new master. He adjusted his spectacles and readied his briefcase as the carriage stopped, and all was still again. The air as sound itself as he braced himself. The driver, a mysterious creature like the night itself, opened the door, clad in black, sculpted from iron, and hissing like some wild beast. A growl rattled through the air he felt in his chest before disembarking and looking up at the castle. It was enormous, like a battleship in the night, or some mountain carved from stone not of this earth. This was the feeling of it, anyway. A sense of grandeur he could not comprehend, yet which, in his mind's eye, made no sense. He'd seen castles before, yet there was something here which stirred in him a sense of the primeval grandeur, long lost to time, which time now sculpted with the hands of another. He stepped forward thus, the gigantic doorway ahead of him as the driver slammed the carriage door, and with a "Yah!" black-clothed horses billowing mist from their nostrils as all went quiet again, like the silence in a tomb. He looked up again at the castle, sighed, and went to knock on the door. "Count Dracula, at your service," was the reply, as the door opened and lights flickered on inside.